All right, everybody, welcome to Saturday. You know what that means. It is time for our regularly scheduled locals to happen in just a couple hours. I actually just got back from a VIP qualifier tournament over in Rochester at Millennium Games, and it was pretty fun, and things turned out pretty well for us. The video for that event has probably already gone up. Since this episode won't be going up till like maybe a week or so after I'm recording right now. So yeah, that video is already up if you want to see how that all went down. I'll leave a link to it up in the top right if you guys want to check it out, or down in the description if I remember. Talking about Marincess today strictly, obviously, that's what we're going to be playing at locals here in week 3. We did do a little bit of DB grinding with the deck, learned a little bit about what I wanted to do going forward with it. Still want to keep the triple paskless. I was a little bit hesitant. I thought about cutting the third one for something else, but ultimately I think 3 is going to be staying in. Seeing that card with any other name is just really, really strong. And not to mention the grind game it gives you is also really, really important, being able to fetch back dives, battle oceans, and waves. And also, another change I wanted to make comes in the side deck. I wanted to play more hand trap hate for the Sprite deck and for the Tearlament deck, and the only other hand trap I could think about playing was Ghost Bell. Ghost Bell not only hits things like Ronin Totem, it also hits Sprite Elf. It hits Totally Awesome. It also hits, just all the Tearlament effects as well, so long as they're not chain blocked, obviously. So Ghost Bell, I feel like, definitely deserves a spot in our side deck for this week. And I also put in 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet, which, looking back, we'll just have to kind of see how it is. I know a lot of decks like Sprite and Tier can turn it off. Some Tier boards are ending on Dark Law, which makes, obviously, Droplet completely irrelevant. And some Sprite boards are ending on Herald of the Arclight, which makes it so we cannot send anything from our hand. We have to strictly send things from the field because they have to hit the grave for Droplet. They can't get banished. So that makes it a little bit problematic. But it's locals. I'm expecting not all the Tier players are going to be able to be facing are going to be on Dark Law, and I don't think there's really that many Sprite players that are locals either, so I'm not so concerned about it. I'm more so concerned about having a really strong board breaking card in the side deck. Now you argue like, oh, it could just be Dark Ruler, but I like Droplet for the flexibility that it has specifically against Tier, and I think Tier is going to be an extremely highly represented deck at our locals, not just this week into the next, but for the next coming weeks, like maybe into the next month or so, because that deck is getting a lot of popularity at our locals, and I feel like Droplet, just for the ability of it being a quick play, is really important for being able to dodge those Windows and Dark Laws that come up, more so Windows mainly, not so Dark Law, but the Windows that come up mid-combo. The more I think about it, Chalice is looking a little bit better, but you also have to think about the fact that, other combo decks that are still existing in our local meta, right? The ones that were around beforehand, they do still get checked by Forbidden Droplet. So I'll keep it in for now. It's probably honestly going to become Chalice, but for tonight, I'm just going to leave it as Droplet, and I'll see if I like it. I'll see if I hate it. Yeah, and also the other thing too is like our deck doesn't really care that much about pitching a ton of cards for Droplet, because we can do our whole combo with just one blue tang, whatever it may be. So that, the cost of getting rid of a lot of cards to Droplet a whole board is really not like a problem in my mind, like I said, because we are a 1-card combo deck. That's the big advantage that we have going into this. And we also have talents as well, which is just great going first. Going second against decks that don't side anti-spell, because that card will be completely dead. But yeah, that's all I wanted to update you guys on before we leave. I'll throw a picture of the deck list as I usually do up here on the screen, so you guys can be up to date with what the list is. Not much has changed, I know. There hasn't been super major changes, like I said last week. It's just minor tweaks from here on out. And yeah, this is going to be just another chance to test the deck's mettle in Power of the Elements format. And we'll see how many post-pot decks we can actually play against, like Tier and Sprite. Hopefully get some practice in against both, because those are going to be very, very popular and overrepresented decks into the next coming months. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say, and I'll catch you guys at locals. Alright guys, so sitting down for round 1, I was very pleased, but not really so to see that I was playing against my good friend Dan. So unfortunately, to see there was going to be a little bit of a team kill to start off the locals, but it is what it is. The even more unfortunate thing that happened in this game right here is the fact that my friend Dan opened up extremely poor both games 1 and 2. There's really nothing to go over here other than the sheer staggering amount of bad luck my friend Dan had when playing in this match. So we took our first round, super tough round, right, as a 2-0 win against the tier limit deck. It is what it is, and yeah, let's take a look at the next round. All right, everybody, here we are in round 2, and luckily this match has a lot more substance to it than our round 1 match. We are playing against the Evil Twin Live Twin Sprite deck, and feel pretty confident in the matchup. I think I don't think this variant's like as good. I think it's just a lot more prone to hand traps. I don't know if I like am wrong in saying that. At least that's what I think. I don't know, but he's still gonna get access to Gigantic. Maybe less prone if your opponent doesn't know what the Live Twin cards do, and they hand trap, like, you know, using the Live Twin stuff as bait. Then I guess maybe it's like less prone, but like if you kind of see right through it, that they're just using it a way to like get to the sprite stuff in a different manner, really not so good, because it's not like the Evil Twin stuff is like preventing me from like hand trapping certain things. Like it puts up interruptions to protect things like Gigantic. I think it just enhances the end board and gives you like more options, I guess, when playing. So the DD Crow is just gonna come in very clutch here, basically just ending the turn, not giving him access to Toad. One DD Crow putting in a lot of work. We are going to start with Sign Up Mining, discarding the Battle Ocean, or not the Battle Ocean, the Wave. And then we're going to grab Pascalis. We're going to normal Pascalis. Effect that will resolve here, bringing out Blue Tang. And he's going to go ahead and send the Seahorse. And then we're going to go ahead and link the Pascalis into Blue Slug, targeting the Seahorse to add back. And then we're going to link the Blue Tang into Sea Angel, Chainlink 1 Sea Angel, Chainlink 2 Blue Tang to Excavate 3, and to add a Marincess spell. We already have Dive in hand, or Battle Ocean rather. So getting the Dive off the Blue Tang is kind of funny. So we just add the Blue Tang off of the Blue Tang, and then we just add the Dive that the Blue Tang revealed off the Sea Angel. So save a little time there. All the same thing. Now my opponent does have Ghost Ogre, which like I am kind of expecting. Ghost Ogre, I think, can be used in a couple of helpful ways against the deck. Obviously, you can hit Battle Ocean if it's not chain blocked, but I think it's also really strong at hitting things like Coral Triangle, because yes, the Search of Waves still goes through, but you get the level 3, the Link 3 body off the field. Also hitting Anemone, because it's the same concept. You get the Link 2 body off field, and the monster is trying to summon does not summon back. So you get a lot of value there. So obviously, I mean, I do have a lot of foreign cards in my Marincess deck, so you wanted a translation there, understandable. We're going to go into Anemone. I do use the effect to equip, you know, just in case things go wrong. It's going to eat a Ghost Ogre. The Battle Ocean is going to take the Ghost Ogre, so my Anemone doesn't have to, which I think is honestly worth it. I should have used the Dive, I think, earlier to like get something out of deck, because of what's going to happen next, like hindsight 2020. He is going to have the DD Crow on the Anemone add back of the Battle Ocean, but I guess the Battle Ocean takes the Crow, so that the Wave doesn't, that we add back off the Marbled Rock, and then we spec out the Seahorse, we go for Bubble Reef, and we have Blue Tang in hand, we have Dive, we have the Desires. You know, we could dive back a monster to like completely clear the field, and I think that's probably what I should have done. Because yes, the Live Twins need no other monsters on the field to activate their effects, but like getting Swap Frog off the field I think is fine because it turns off his other sprite cards. So I think I kind of misplayed in that aspect. And the Desires draws us into Imperm and Sleepy Maiden. I probably should have Sleepy Maidened the Bubble Reef, so it's got that additional protection. We're going to draw in a standby phase, and he's going to start his turn by bouncing back the Swap Frog. And he's going to go ahead and normal summon the Kiss-a-Kill. We're going to hit that with an Imperm, put him on have another sprite name to keep playing, And he does not. He just has Lila, Ash, and Swap in hand. So he's going to go ahead and pass turn. We're going to start our turn by drawing and then drawing in the standby phase again. And my opponent sees enough there, so we take that game rather quickly and we move into game 2. So as you might expect in game 2, my opponent is going to go first here. Leads with the Trouble Sunny and is basically just going to go ahead and do like standard live twin sprite things. He does have Swap Frog. And I think he also has DD Crow again. So like DD Crow, as you guys saw in the last game, not a huge deal. The Ghost Ogre honestly wasn't even a huge deal either. Like, just hand trapping your opponent with a giant towers on field works out pretty well most of the time. He does go for Gigantic here. I do Ash it. I think my only 2 hand traps are Ash Crow. And then from there, he's just going to kind of pivot back to the live twin engine where he's going to attempt to bring back the Lila with the Evil Twin Kiss-a-Kill. I do Crow it. I wanted to double check to make sure that he did not have another Lila monster in graveyard because their effects do not target. They just specify bringing back a Lila monster or a Kiss-a-Kill monster. The DD Crow did work out very, very well there because he only had 1 Lila name in the grave. So I was okay with using the Crow there. Otherwise, I probably would have just held the Crow for my turn. And when he goes to like bring out certain monsters, I could Crow the one that pops a card. And that way, like, it turns off a lot for him. And it's like a lot less stuff we have to worry about. My opponent does have double DD Crow. So we'll see how we kind of navigate the double DD Crow. Starting with just Seahorse is always kind of rough, especially if you go right into the Blue Slug. It's because if he Crows this and I don't have any of the names to add back, it's very, very rough. And he's going to kind of pick up on that fact here. And he is going to go ahead and Crow the Seahorse. But the Starlight Seahorses stay loyal. And we're going to have another one in hand. We're going to special summon it and go into the Sea Angel to add a spell. And we're going to add our Battle Ocean. He's going to trigger the Frost Engrave to go ahead and add or draw a card since we added a card. And I think he picks up a Ghost Spell. So now we're going to go into the Anemone. And we are going to activate Battle Ocean. But I'm like, you can't Bell the Battle Ocean. It's just equipping them. But we're going to go ahead and use Anemone here. And now he kind of shows me that he has another Crow. He could have just Belled that and kept the other card in hand like unknown. So now I know that he has like another Bell. But double DD Crow on 2 Seahorses. That kind of hurts, and we're going to hope this Desires can get us there into at least some other usable name. Check the damage, and we draw into Triple T, and one other card. Looks like Effect Veiler. So, we could draw 2 into draw 2, but I'm feeling confident in the game state that I'm in right now, and in that I can just look at his hand and, like, hit his only playable out of his hand, and it's going to be the Swap Frog. And then he is going to just have his Kiss-a-Kill ran over in the battle phase, also adjusting the life points from the Sunny Snitch, because he did have an Evil Twin monster on field. And then we're just going to go into the battle phase, attack over that, leave him with just Bell in hand and a top deck, and we do have Imperm. And he did top deck a DD Crow. Like, these hand traps are being extremely loyal to him. So we're just going to go battle phase, swing in for some damage. We don't have anything engraved to revive back, so we can't even play into his Bell or Crow. Pass turn there, he draws Imperm, sets the Bell, and at this point we really got, him on the back foot. We're just going to attack. We're drawing into more hand traps. He's drawing into more hand traps. He's going to activate Sunny Snitch, and that is going to go ahead and resolve. This is going to get him a name, but it's only going to get him so far because I'm just going to go ahead and Imperm it and put him on Have Extender, which he does not have. His hand is just completely hand traps right now, and there's not much he can do, and we still have Imperm Veiler. And I think we draw a name here finally. It's Blue Tang, one hell of a name to be able to draw. So we're going to go ahead and send a Seahorse. And we're going to attempt to bring back the Seahorse off of the Anemone. And see if he wants to go ahead and use one of the hand traps that he has. Which we know there's still a DD Crow in the hand. At least from our perspective anyways, we don't. But he goes and Imperms the Coral. Which is like, whatever, that's fine. We'll link into Sea Angel here and then chain block it with the Blue Tang. We get a free Spring Girl. We get Dive. And now at this point, I'm feeling very confident that we can go for a game. So long as we have like another Pascalis in deck. If I didn't banish all of them, because we can activate Pascalis after we summon it from deck. That's where the extra names are coming in kind of clutch here. And yeah, that's where he's going to go ahead and scoop. Showing me that he had another DD Crow in hand. We're just going to make Bahamut Shark or Stealth Craig in there and just kind of secure the game. And yeah, that's a wrap for round 2, and we'll go ahead and move on to the next round. All right, so here we are in round 3, and we're playing against the Sprite deck. This is like a pure Sprite deck. against TJ here. He actually just got top 8, at least when this video was recorded. Top 8 at a Toronto regional. That profile is up on the channel for anyone who wants to see it. So yeah, got to test against a pretty strong and well-proven Sprite deck here. And game 2 is a little scuffed. I'll explain that when we get there. So I am going to go ahead and lead here in game 1 with Spring Girl. And so you know, it's kind of a rough opening, linking Spring Girl into a Sea Angel. Kind of rough, but sometimes you gotta like sequence it that way. So we're gonna go ahead and activate one off of Spring Girl. It's another Spring Girl, of course. We're gonna activate Battle Ocean, and then we're gonna activate Dive and attempt to special summon from the graveyard. My opponent does have the Bell, and I'm just gonna go ahead and opt to take a look at his hand. Yeah, and he does have a very, very stacked hand. He's got 3 starters in hand, one of them actually being starter literally, and I was trying to play around the more common hand trap Ash by not special summoning from the deck, and I ended up playing into Bell. It is what it is. So I feel like I wanted to hit the more like high value card, which was starter, and you know, just have him start with either the Diva or the Beaver, and I could Veiler one of those two. And I do Veiler the Diva, but he top decked DD Crow, or not DD Crow, Called by the Grave, and like at that point it's just kind of like, that's really rough. That's really tough luck for us right there. That could have honestly just been his entire turn had he not top decked that that Called by. And we kind of played around the Ash too by opting not to draw 2 there off of the Triple T. We could have gotten hand trapped very, very badly there. He just kind of got very lucky that he did draw, you know, the Called by, and he's just like into Sprite combo here. Battle phase attacking with a Gigantic, and then attacking with the Gin Buster. And playing a very simplified game here, and we're just going to go ahead and scoop, and that is going to be it for game 1. Game 2, I'm going to skip over. It was a really, really grindy game, but my opponent, you know, and shout out to him for doing this, did admit that he made a very, like, technically illegal play. He actually ended up linking his Elf the same turn that it was summoned for an access code, and that kind of changed the course of the game a little bit. So he was able to admit that, own up to it, and he did concede game 2. It was a very, very close game, too. I wish I could go over it with you guys, but it was a little scuffed because of that. So he did give me the game on that technical error, and we are going to go ahead and just jump to game 3 here, and we'll save a little time as well. All right, so here we are in that all-important game 3, and my opening hand, I have Ash, Imperm, Nibiru, Dive, and Desire. So no engine whatsoever, but 3 really good hand traps against this deck. And he opened up Swap, Dupe, Ronin, Dark Ruler, and one other card, which I can't tell what it is off the top of my head. But he's going to lead with Swap pitching Ronin, which is really strong. Basically just free, totally awesome incoming on the second or, well, third summon. You know, swap for Ronin, go for Toad. And he's going to normal Dupe and special Blue. Now, I have 3 hand traps in hand right now, so yeah, I have a couple options here what I could do. I could either Ash the Blue, I could Imperm the Blue, or I could just hold it, and I think I definitely should just hold it, knowing how strong Sprite Smashers is, especially against my deck and how weak my hand is right now. I should have just held the Imperm for a possible Jet, or possibly something like Gigantic. I think that would have made more sense. Or like Ash the Gigantic, maybe Toad to chain Imperm on the Toad, and then we have Nibiru to basically wipe the field once he like commits an Elf. So yeah, I think I definitely misplay this because I decided to Ash the Blue. I don't think that was necessarily the play. And at this point, once I see him negate with Toad, I'm like, all right, this Nibiru is gonna go through. So he is gonna go ahead and search out Jet, special summon Jet, and I do Imperm Jet. So I guess that's fair, but like I could have just let him get to this point without using the Ash, but then maybe at that point he negates with Toad still. So I Ash the Jet, and then once he tries to negate with Toad, and then I throw the Imperm down. And then once you see him commit the Elf, or maybe commit a little bit more, then you drop the Nibiru, which is what I decide to do right now, I think. Yeah, I think my opponent attempts to leave main, and I go ahead and throw the rock at him. And he is still able to make somewhat of a play afterwards, because he still has Swap Ronin engrave, and he still has Toad to recur. So like it seems like he should be stopping his turn right here, right now, especially after 3 hand traps, but he still is able to keep going. So he will add back off the swap, or off the toad. It's going to be swap. And then he can still establish a elf, which is kind of scary. So he will dupe for Ronin and then link off the token and the Ronin for Sprite Elf. And he is going to go ahead and pass turn there. And I draw Ghost Ogre for turn, which is like not terrible. If he activates the elf, we can go ahead and ogre it, and it gets that off the field for potential follow-up for him. He does have a properly summoned Totally Awesome engraved too. That's another thing we can keep in mind here as we want to be able to make things like area. I do attempt to go battle phase here with the Nib on board, and that's going to force the elf to bring out the toad. And I do chain Ghost Ogre, and he'll bring out the toad in defense. And I think I still go battle phase here, run it over, because I need this Desires to resolve. He adds back Ronin, and then we're going to go ahead and Desires, and hope he doesn't have a hand trap for it. He does not. And we take a look at the damage. Wave is gone, but we draw into Blue Tang, Harpy's Feather Duster. Feeling really, really good about that. And now we're just going to kind of go to work here. We know that he has no interruptions in hand, like as a viewer right now. I don't. I know 2 cards in hand. The one is unknown. And we're just going to try to make the best board that we possibly can right now. We're going to link into the Sea Angel, go ahead and get our Surge of Battle Ocean. And I do want to try to go for like an area play, because I feel like it's going to be really high value going for area, especially as Toad engraved. So we're going to go ahead and take his Toad, and then we're going to link our area and Sea Angel into the Coral, Battle Ocean to equip, and then we're going to bring back the Blue Tang, and then link those into the Coral Triangle. Now, my wave is banished. You're probably wondering, like, why are you going for Coral Triangle? I still want that follow-up. The follow-up is so incredibly important here. More so important, I would say, than, like, going for the Marbled Rock. And I also think maybe I was tunnel visioning there again, like I've done in the past. Forgetting that my wave was just banished. Like, I just saw that, but I'm still going in for there. But I can't go for it because I don't have a wave in deck, but it's fine. Because now we can just dive for a Pascalis, use Pascalis as effect here to bring out the Bahamut Shark, and then Shark effect to go ahead and summon out a second Toad, and then we're going to link those into Argonaut, and we're going to go ahead and equip 3, and we're going to go ahead and pass turn on that since we had to use our battle phase. Now, this normally would be insane right here. Double Omni Negate plus having access to Argonaut. But my opponent does have Dark Lure no more, and he is going to slap that in the field, and that one hurts quite a bit. So he gets access to Dark Ruler, and then he's going to go ahead and swap, pitch Ronin, dump swap. And I'm kind of curious to see what that last card in his hand is again. I hope it's not Starter, because Starter would be kind of nutty for him here. But he is going to go ahead and overlay for Sky Cavalry. I think it's Crossout Designator, actually. I think that's what he just drew. And at this point, I'm feeling pretty vulnerable, because he does have to, go for a Zeus play here. And I guess it's okay for me, because, like, even if he clears my entire field, I'm still getting 2 cards back. Think about that. It's crazy. I'm getting 2 cards back for next turn, and they're all pretty much 1-card combos, and I have Triangle in the graveyard. So him going for the Zeus play here is setting me up quite a bit. It looked kind of grim at first after the Dark Ruler, but we're still in a really good position. Sure, he gets a card back as well, and he does have a double Zeus. He Zeuses once just to get rid of everything. And just thinking on my add backs here, and I do add back the Dive off the Anemone and the Blue Tang off the Toad. The Battle Ocean should also be gone. I don't know why that's still on the field. It does not matter, though, in the slightest, because we are just going to go ahead and start with Harpy's Feather Duster. And my opponent is going to go ahead and activate Cross Out in response. I'm just going to chain Droplet here, sending off the HFD to negate the Zeus, so we don't have to worry about that. He just goes Cross Out, call Cross Out to deck then. But yeah, the Battle Ocean should be in the graveyard. It doesn't matter, though. Like I said, we have Pascalis engraved to get it back. We also have Anemone to get it back. We haven't made Marbled Rock to get it back. So getting access to Battle Ocean again would have been no, hard thing to do. So we are going to normal summon here, bring out the Blue Tang, and then we're going to go ahead and go into Stealth Kraken, blow it up. He'll take 15, and then we're going to go ahead and link into the Marbled Rock. And I still don't know how I forgot about this Battle Ocean. I'm actually just kind of shocked about that. We'll special summon the Seahorse, and like I said, I just don't think it mattered there. Is what it is. Small little things happen like that. But yeah, we ended up winning there against Sprite, and we are 3-0 on the day, going into our 4th and final round. Wish me luck. All right, guys, so fourth and final round against arguably the best deck of the format. It is going to be Tier Lament. Yeah, like, tough matchup for sure. So we do win Dyro here. Very lucky about that. We do have to go sign up mining, discarding Ash Blossom. I would have preferred not to have discarded it, but in this hand, I think I absolutely ended up having to. And I think I had DD Crow in hand. Obviously, I at this point in the tournament, I know what my opponent's on, so I'd rather keep the DD Crow than the Ash. We're going to go ahead and normal summon the Blue Tang, activate its effect, sending Seahorse here, and then we're going to link that into a copy of Blue Slug as per usual. Chainlink 1 Slug, Chainlink 2 Tang. We're going to excavate 3, and we do find a dive, so feeling pretty good about that. And then we're going to go ahead and special summon out the Seahorse and link that into Sea Angel. Sea Angel effect to go ahead and add Battle Ocean. Now we have that 2-card combo, Battle Ocean plus dive. Always feels good to have that. Activating the dive now. And we'll activating the Battle Ocean, then linking into Anemone, equipping 2, and then Anemone to bring back the Blue Tang, then linking into Coral Triangle. Chainlink 1 Ocean, Chainlink 2 Anemone to add back the Blue Tang. Triangle effect, discarding Blue Tang to go ahead and add our Marincess Wave. So really, really solid start to this hand here. Would be nice too if we could like keep the Blue Tang in our hand. That way we could dive for Pascalus, bring out the Blue Tang, and then make Bahamut Shark with Toad. But I just go for dive just for Pascalus, even though I can't resolve the hand effect here for that graveyard follow-up. Just get it out of the deck, get that name in the grave. Again, it's just more follow-up, very, very important. We're going to go for Anemone, or not Anemone, Coral Triangle. I'm messing up so much. Not Coral Triangle, Aqua Argonaut. And then we're going to Desires here, banish 10, draw 2. Now that all of our valuable one-ofs are out of the deck, like Wave and Battle Ocean, hoping to draw into more hand traps. I think I drew into Triple T and Imperm. Boy, oh boy, he is lucky he did not have-ness us, or he did not hand trap us. That would have came in so clutch. My opponent's going to lead with the Dark Lure. Nice Imperm, by the way. It's going to trade just 1 for 1 here. Then he's going to activate Perla Rhino. Perla Rhino is going to go ahead and add Rhino Heart. He's going to normal summon Rhino Heart, activate effect. And normally, anytime I see somebody lead Perla Rhino into Rhino Heart, into dump a name, it's usually, in my opinion, a sign of their opening is very fragile. So I'm going to go ahead and fire DD Crow here on the Merly. He does have Called by the Grave, which is kind of nice. Now I know, I also see why I discarded Ash, because I had to. Called by, I think, probably would have saved him, because it looks like he has another Merly in hand, a King of the Swamp, and I can't tell what the other card is. But I think that Called by just absolutely saved them. Called by coming in clutch for a lot of people today. So he's going to go ahead and go into Kitkalis, and I do impermit, turn off its effects to be able to add and also, you know, summon another tier by sending itself and milling 5. So imperm going greatly there. And then he goes ahead and uses King of the Swamp. I probably should have ashed that. Honestly, keeping him off of Poly would have probably just ended his turn, but now I'm kind of holding the Ash. I should ash the Sheeran. Please tell me ash the Sheeran. Please. All right, I ashed the Sheeran. I'm happy about that, but I'm not happy about the fact that he's still going to be able to get to play through with that poly. I think ashing Sheeran was more correct, honestly. Hitting the King of the Swamp also seemed good, but, you know, I think there's just a lot higher ceiling potential off the Sheeran with those mills. But he's still going to get mill 5, and he's still going to get Sheeran effect diffusion. Goes for the Kaleido Heart, and then we're going to see him mill 5. Hitting the Meta Noise, Sheeran, and double Rhino Heart. And he's also got Dragostapelia on the field right now as well. And he's going to go ahead and attempt to shuffle it back in. And we do fire Wave there now, so we can't get over our Argonaut. It is at 4,300. It is unaffected by card effects. It's still negated by Dark Lure, right? But it's still unaffected by our opponent's card effects, which is really, really strong. So kind of, you know, leaving him with a roadblock right here. And that's going to buy us a turn, right? We weren't dying regardless because he did Dark Ruler and Wave securing things for us there as well. And we're pretty glad right now we put that Pascalus in the graveyard because it can get us easy access to Wave right now to start out our turn, or it can easily get us dive back to our hand. And we do add back the dive, and then we're going to go ahead and activate said dive to go ahead and bring out most likely a Blue Tang here if there are any left in the deck, but it does not look like there is, so we're just going to go ahead and special summon out Seahorse. And then we can use the Argonaut to attempt to bounce the Seahorse and the Rhino Heart. He is going to Dragostapelia that, and like, okay, that's pretty good. And now we have access to Triple Tactics Talent. So we just need to find a quick and easy way to go for a game here. by, removing the Dragostapelia and then Triple T taking the Rhino Heart to swing for a ton of damage. We're going to go ahead and link Forest Slug, get back the Blue Tang, normal Blue Tang, sending Spring Girl. And then we can go ahead and link the Blue Tang into not the Sea Angel, but we're going to go for Anemone. Anemone is going to go ahead and, after the Blue Tang resolves, reveal 3. We get to take a Seahorse, which we have not used Seahorse's in-hand effect. And also just checking how many cards are there in deck. Because I also want to set up an actual a rank 4 play, because I need to right now. So we're going to grab another Spring Girl from the deck, and then Anemone's just going to bring out another level 4 after we banish to summon the Spring Girl. So like I said, it's just very easy to go for game right now, but I need a rank 4 play. And I think should just go for Stealth Kraken here, pop the Dragostapelia, or I could go for Bahamut to kind of make things a little bit safer. And yeah, we're going to go Triple T to take the Rhino Heart. And then we're just going to go Battle Phase, I believe. Attack over at 43, and then swing in for 22, 22, 35. And he already took, that was a 3,200 Dragostapelia, so he would have taken 12 or 11. So I think that should be game. And it does end up being game. So yeah. Almost kind of fumbled the bag there. Should have gone for Stealth Kraken. Stealth Kraken 100% would have been game. But I guess I was worried about it not being game for some reason, having Toad for protection as a contingency plan. So let's go ahead and take a look at game 2. All right, so here we are in game 2. This is one hell of a game, I gotta say, and there's some pretty important things that I want to go over towards the later part of the game. So here my opponent is going to lead with Sharon pitching Beast, milling 3, hitting Havness and Squamata, so he'll get the effect of Beast and Havness. I think he goes 1 Beast to Havness. I'm not sure why he, chained it that way, because this Bell just gets to go in for the free. Then he's going to go ahead and draw into a Murley, normal summon Murley, mill 3. That will go ahead and whiff. And he has Cosmic Imperm, so we'll go ahead and, set those and pass turn. We have double Pascalis, Dive, Droplet. I think is in our hand right now. Double Pascalis, Dive, Droplet, and Sleepy Maiden. The Cosmic of his is going to kind of be really, really clutch to hit the Battle Ocean. I don't know if I have any other way to bait out the, the Cosmic in these types of scenarios. Maybe going forward, this is where possibly teching a second Battle Ocean could be clutch. Maybe even siding the second one when, people are going to be siding back row hate. But, even then, maybe that's a little outlandish. But we're going to link into Sea Angel first and attempt to go ahead and search our Battle Ocean. There it is. And then we're going to activate it. And my opponent does have Cosmic Cyclone. So he's going to cut us off from other Marincess names, which is kind of rough for us here because, having access to just Pascalis and just Sleepy Maiden is nice, but we would rather get things like Blue Tang in play because that gets us more names, right? So now we're going to go ahead and link the Sleepy Maiden and the Sea Angel into Anemone. And then Anemone is going to go ahead and bring out the Sleepy Maiden, right? Cosmic on Field Spell isn't so bad because we have Sleepy Maiden. That's why that card is a mandatory card, in my opinion, because of situations like this. So then we're going to go ahead and link into the Coral Triangle here, discard the other Pascalis in our hand, and he's going to go ahead and hit that with an Imperm. So now we're going to go ahead and link into, at least I thought I was going to link, but I need the Sleepy Maiden in Graveyard. So I got a little ahead of myself there. Should have summoned out this first, like I'm doing now, and then link off the Coral Triangle and the Sleepy, just so we can get the Sleepy in the graveyard so we can use its graveyard effect to equip it with the Anemone. So now it's a live spell trap negate, and that actually can matter a whole heck of a lot. And we also get the add back off of the Anemone too, if it hits the grave, which is also important because we have Droplet too. So we can Droplet for 2, sending off the Anemone and the Pascalis, right? Negate 2 things and add back a card in the process. So my opponent is going to normal the Murley. We do have to negate there. I do opt to send the Pascalis instead of the Anemone, obviously because I want the Spell Trap negate available to us. And at this point he's checking the graveyard and looking for a possible dark play, but we do not have any darks. The only dark we would have is DD Crow, but it's not there. So he's just going to go ahead and link into the dark. and he's just forced to pass there. Right now, we're in a pretty good spot, if I'm being totally honest here. It's just the lack of names that we have access to is kind of hurting us. So we do draw an Imperm. We do have the lead here with the Pascalus, adding back the dive. Luckily, we have another Pascalus in our grave to bring back. We're just going to bounce the Dark and the Pascalus, and, so we don't trigger the graveyard effect. Here, I should have normal summoned the Pascalus and then just attacked him with both for more damage, but I can also see the reason for wanting to hold the name, too. My opponent's going to top deck a Pearl Rhino. We negate the effect to search, then he's going to activate Triple T. Draws into Instant Fusion Rhino Heart. Now, you might think this could spell disaster here, but I do have the Infirm for the Kit Kalos, which is really strong. He still has the follow-up Rhino Heart to go ahead and dump Havnus. Havnus will let him Fusion Summon. Going for Murley, and I'm not sure if that's all he wants to go for. I think he actually goes for a Kaleido Heart play here. He does decide to go for the Kaleido Heart, and Kaleido Heart will spin back because he gets both field spell. Well, he gets the field spell effect here now that, things were returned. So he'll get Kaleido Heart and he'll get Pearl Rhino. Because the only thing that was negated about Pearl Rhino was when he activated the effect of Search. So he'll destroy the Argonaut and shuffle back the Anemone. And then swing in for 23 and for, 28 and 25. Which I'm not actually sure if the card summoned off of Instant Fusion can even attack, which I want to double check right now, because that would be good to know. It cannot attack, so he should not have been able to attack with the Kit Kalos there. That is completely on me, and low-key will technically matter later on. I draw for turn here, and my opponent forgets. We both forget that the Kit Kalos should have been destroyed in the end phase because of the Instant Fusion. It really doesn't change much. He does catch it before things get a little too, like the game state gets a little too unrepairable. So he Desires, and we add back. Actually, I don't Pascalus add back because there's no Pascalus in grave. I do draw into Imperm Bell off the Desires, which I wouldn't have those cards in my hand. But he does hit a name, which lets him fusion. He would have gotten into a Dragostapelia, and, that kind of brings us to where we are right now. Luckily, I did draw the Imperm off of the Desire, so I can actually negate that and trade with that here. But right now, I have one name, and that's it. One name in a dream. Luckily, one name, no matter what it is, so long as it's not Sleepy Maiden, is still a Link 4. And we're going to show that off right now. Pascalus, putting in some work right now, even though that's all I'm seeing. So we're going to go into the Splash Mage. Wanted to make sure there was no area play. Then we go into the Anemone, bring back the Splash Mage. And then we're going to link into the Great Bubble Reef. And we'll get a card back off of the Anemone, hitting the graveyard as well. And the only unfortunate thing here is that we don't have a way to get over any of his monsters because they are all boosted by Pearl Rhino. So I have to pass turn. Standby phase, we're going to attempt to go ahead and draw a card. He does negate. And he's going to go ahead and start with Poly, which he cannot Poly because the Rhino Heart can actually not be used as fusion material. Then he just goes Battle Phase, which kind of falls into the trap of going for the Battle Phase because I have that triangle in graveyard. Sometimes it's better just to leave me with a weaker monster in field so I don't get the Soul Charge effect. But he's going to fall into that. He's going to attack over the Bubble Reef and then attack with the Rhino Heart or the Kaleido Heart for a decent amount of damage. So I do have Bell, I do have Dive, and I do top deck Signet Mining, which feels so good right now. So incredibly good. We're going to lead our turn with Coral Triangle to go ahead and bring back the Anemone and bring back a Sea Angel. And honestly, with a name engrave and a Signet in hand, this is pretty much all we need to technically be able to take the game here. There is a very, very complicated line here that gets us to game. Now, I have 300 life points left. I shouldn't have taken that 2,800, so I should technically be at 31, and that does matter. But I do make a big mistake here. I start with the Signet Mining, and I'll tell you what the mistake is when we get there. But Signet Mining to go ahead and grab Blue Tang, normal summon Blue Tang, dumping Spring Girl, because I know I need to get access to Dweller in some way, shape, or form. And I know I also need to get access to Bubble Reef and Argonaut. That's my only way out of this right now. And luckily, I have plenty of ways to recycle the Bubble Reef back to the extra deck, and I can leave the Argonaut engraved to banish it with the Spring Girl, which I'm dumping to the graveyard right now. I'm trying to set that up. I cannot stress how good bringing back Argonaut that was banished off of Spring Girl is so important. It comes up a lot and lets you apply a ton of pressure. So I go Anemone effect here, bring back Spring Girl, And I was like, do I want to go for a Dweller here, a rank 4 play? Really no reason to do that. I got to do a little bit more work first. And this right here, I made a massive mistake right here. I go Chainlink 1 Blue Slug, targeting Spring Girl, Chainlink 2 Spring Girl to Excavate 4. And I Excavate 4, I hit a bunch of names, which is great, right? Fantastic for me. And I even mill a Wave too, so that gets put in Graveyard. But I forget to add back off of Blue Slug. So the Spring Girl should be in my hand right now on top of the Bell. So my hand should be Spring Girl, Bell. And then I use Pascalus Engrave, which I haven't used yet, to get back the Wave to my hand. So I should have Wave, Spring Girl, Bell in hand. Then I would link into Marbled Rock. Anemone would recycle the Bubble Reef and not the Argonaut. I don't know why I recycled the Argonaut. That was also a mistake, because I had not summoned Spring Girl via her own effect yet. And then I would use Marbled Rock effect to go ahead and add back any other water, right? Since the Anemone recycled the Bubble Reef back. And the Marbled Rock would get us any water to our hand. It could have been the Seahorse we just milled, right? But I'm forced to add back Spring Girl because I need that in hand. And then I would link the Marbled Rock and the Sea Angel into the Bubble Reef. And I would summon the Spring Girl by banishing the Argonaut. That would gain 600. And then we'd go ahead and discard the Seahorse in our hand to bring back the Argonaut. And at that point, we can go ahead and use the Argonaut to bounce the Kaleido Heart, and then we can overlay the Spring Girl and the Blue Tang here into Dweller, boosting our Bubble Reef up even further to 37, allowing us to get over the Dragostapelia, and we end on Bubble Reef Argonaut with Dweller, Bell, and Wave in hand, and there's no way we lose that game this way, but I completely fumbled the bag. I knew something was up, like when I had to add back that Spring Girl off of the Marbled Rock, and now at this point, I'm struggling to find a way to clear everything, and then, you know, my opponent is basically, I'll speed it up here, my opponent basically just goes battle phase next turn as I'm not able to clear everything and just runs over the 2300 Argonaut with a 3500 Kaleido. And that just basically seals it. Yeah, it just goes battle phase and attacks for game. I'm only at 300, and I can't believe I did that. I didn't even know that until now, and that makes me feel so disappointed, man. Don't make the same mistakes I do. Let's take a look at game 3. So here we are heading into what is technically an unnecessary game 3, which you never want to do if you don't have to. We're going to start by normaling the Spring Girl, linking it into Sea Angel, and we are not using the effect of Spring Girl here. We're just going to use the effect of Sea Angel to search. I don't know why I didn't chain block there, but we're just going to go ahead and, especially with the time rules, like, you know, burning there could have been huge. He does hit me with Droll, which is, like, fine, because now we can just, like, add things back from our grave, like we're doing right now, adding back the Spring Girl off of the Slug. And then Anemone can also add back cards from our grave. We have Crow Bell, too. Crow Bell. Pretty good cards to have against this matchup. So we're going to summon Spring Girl by banishing the Blue Tang and then linking into Marbled Rock. We're going to add back off the Marbled Rock, add back off the Anemone. And then we're going to go ahead and link 4 into Bubble Reef here, since we don't have access to Battle Ocean and we don't have access to the Sleepy Maiden. Can't use Desires. We go ahead and bring back the the Blue Tang off of the Bubble Reef, and we're going to go ahead and dump Pascalus to the graveyard. Now, I have Dive in hand, so I should technically be able to make a rank 4, unless I already used Dive, which I think that is very possible that I already used Dive, but I feel like there could have been possibly a way to set up a Dweller play there, and if we do get to Dweller, I think that also is just kind of a wrap. Draw a Talents in our standby phase off the Bubble Reef. We Bell the Murley. He's going to go ahead and activate the field spell. That's going to go ahead and grab Sharon. Sharon discarding a Skomata, and then Skomata effect that will resolve. No reason to like hit that. He's going to dump Beast, draw another card. Sure, that's fine. Draws into another Perla Rhino, which luckily right now isn't doing too much for him. He does have Triple Tactics talent, and he's just going to use this to take the Bubble Reef. And it's kind of scary because his monsters can get very huge very fast in this deck. He's going to go for Kit Kalos and trigger the other effects as well, which I think it actually might just be Kit Kalos. We do Crow the Sheeran that's attempting Diffusion, so yeah, he did use the Sheeran. And then he's going to go ahead and dump with the Kit Kalos the Havnus. Havnus will fusion into a Kaleido Heart. And that's going to be a wrap, as he's able to get rid of both of the cards that I have, shuffle and pop. And then 35, 32, even that Bubble Reef would be even stronger because I DD Crowed on his turn. And then, yeah. Oh, man, I can't believe I fumbled the bag that hard. But that is our locals experience for week 3. We ended up going 3-1. Terrible misplay costing it here in the 4th and final round. But it is what it is. You learn from your mistakes. And that's why you should always review your replays or your matches if at all possible. All right, everybody, that is a wrap on locals for tonight. 3-1. Very, very close to being a possible 4-0. My opponent just had really, really good luck there at the very end, as you guys saw, because I think I will be going over the 4th round feature match. Well, feature match, my feature match, I guess. Yeah, Droll's not really a super common card you see right now in the format. So when he drolled me, I was like, all right, fair enough. It turned off a Desires and a Sign Up Mining, on top of turning off all the other things that you would normally get in that combo, like Searching Wave, etc., etc. And then he had the Triple T, which is really strong. Was able to OTK through Bell and Crow, which, fair enough, right? Fair enough. And of course, before we go home, we got to crack our OTS pack for going 3-1. And this is my 6th OTS pack today that I've opened. I've not pulled a single ulti, and I'm expecting it to be a similar outcome here. So we have one there, common, and yeah, of course. I mean, it is what it is. Not really upset about that. Obviously, the pulls don't matter. 3 Pascalis build. I really wasn't sure about it last week. With some of the playtesting I did on DB this week as well, I think the 3 Pascalis build is starting to, I'm starting to warm up to it a little bit. I think I'm definitely warming up to it a bit, and the talents in the main deck still continues to overperform. The only other thing I wish I could do is find some way to fit Dweller into the extra deck and not side it anymore. But I just don't know if it's actually possible to do, because you really can't cut any. The only thing I guess you could arguably say you could cut is Splash Mage, but Splash Mage is very, very important, as many of you know. But yeah, I'll catch you guys a little bit later. I really wasn't sure about it last week. Some of the I'll catch you guys a little bit later. All right, so it is a lot later from the point in which I filmed that. Many weeks in the future. I do want to say I apologize for the delayed release of this series of One Deck 1 Month. Really no excuses for it on my end, and I just want to apologize. The episodes were never meant to be released this far apart. That's just kind of how things ended up happening. Also, as you guys may have noticed, there was kind of a lot missing from this episode. Not really, but I just didn't have a lot of time to record specifically during this week because of the VIP tournament and other things going on, and trying to learn another deck on the side that I will be playing for the upcoming YCS Niagara Falls. So I do apologize for that. Wanted to kind of explain where some other things were that you maybe typically normally see in this episode, and just give you guys a heads up. The next episode is really amazing. Did a lot of extra stuff for that one, and I can't wait for that one to go up. I think it's probably going to be the best one of the series out of the 4 episodes, and just wanted to go ahead and let you guys know that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of One Deck 1 Month. I really appreciate all the support, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, guys. It means a lot that I have something like this, and I'm very, very grateful for everybody that checks out the channel, that's been supporting. Even if you don't watch the videos every day, I just appreciate each and every single person that has allowed me to do what I do right now, and be able to enjoy this game in the way that I do. So, huge thank you, guys. Again, my apologies for maybe what it might have been a little bit of a lackluster episode, but stay tuned for episode 4. That episode's going to be a banger, mark my words. Marincess signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And of course, a big thank you goes to our Divine level channel members, who are Ponystar, Cadillacs84, Justin Lamb, HGH Cyber, and Mango. Thank you guys so much as always for your extremely kind and generous support of this channel.